So let me introduce our guest today, Vlad, who currently resides with his wife Olga and their two kids in New Jersey. And he has recently closed a 419 unit property in South Dallas and a 34 unit student housing project in South Carolina. So, Vlad, my friend, the floor is yours, and we're so happy that you're here with us today.
Oh, of course. Thank you so much. Quick correction: the Dallas deal. I co-GP'd on the deal and raised capital. The main sponsors are Massive Capital, who gave me a shot on helping them with the raise, and I truly appreciate them working with me. But quick thing, my real estate career started. Just a quick analogy: just picture yourself laying in a warm, cozy bed under the soft blankets, no worries in the world, and then it's being ripped off, and somebody pours like a bucket of cold water on you. That's how my real estate journey started. I was a graphic designer. I did my thing, was very happy. I used to make billboards that you see on the side of the highway and a couple of other things. Very happy with my job, 5 minutes away and everything. And then COVID hit and I got furloughed and I have two kids, mortgage. I mean, I kind of enjoyed that time in the summer because it's 6 months. I'm chilling. I'm getting unemployment. All is good. But at the back of my mind, I'm thinking, what if I'm not going to be called back? What am I going to do? I can't control my future. I did get called back, but that planted a seed in my head that I need to do something. A change needs to be made. Olga, of course, you know her, my wife. She's very driven, red personality. She needs to be moving forward. She goes, "Hey, how about try to be a real estate agent?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I have to learn this real estate. I don't know anything about it. The only real estate transaction I've done is we bought a house through MLS, as most people do, and that's it. Everything is taken care of for you." And I'm sure a lot of people went through this. And because we're all investors here and we had previous jobs before, have them still. But I did get recalled back. And she found my pain point. She goes, if you're going to be an active participant in a passive activity, we can save on taxes. And I'm like, let's go. That's it. I got hooked. At night, studying for the real estate exam, 70-hour exam, class, passed the test, got my real estate license, saved $4,000 on taxes that year. Super happy. And that moved me into, as most people did, I'm sure. Let's see who did it. Flipping. Natural progression went into flipping, started doing that for approximately 6 months, wholesaling as well. And started attending at night after work, started attending local real estate events around New Jersey. Not too far, 20-minute drive, few in the city. And I liked it. It was interesting. Met really cool people. It was really, really nice. But ultimately, what we realized is that it's like a hamster in the wheel. As soon as you stop prospecting, as soon as you stop reaching out to sellers, looking for buyers, whatnot, income stops. And what's the alternative? Well, the alternative is getting a rental, passive income. We got one in South Jersey, really far away, approximately an hour and a half by Philly. We got a nice rental. It's cash flowing still. We still have it. By the way, it's on sale. We're selling it. I'll tell you about it later. But we were getting $1,000 net a month, which is great. We're like, wow, and all that depreciation. But still, it's one house. It's far away. We can't control it. And if the tenant leaves, you lose all that income. And Olga has a life coach, and the life coach goes to her, what's your ultimate goal? And she goes, I want to be in multifamily because many of you know, may not know, she works as a commercial property appraiser. and she's a CFA, so she knows numbers, she knows underwriting, she knows commercial real estate. She goes, my ultimate goal is to be in commercial real estate, to do apartments. And the life coach goes, so what's stopping you now? And she goes, well, we have to go little by little. And she goes, why? Why do you have to? What's limiting you? Well, it's the money, it's this and connections. She's like, no, just find somebody with money. Connect with people that are doing it now. 2 days later, we're sitting on the couch in front of a TV. Yes, I used to watch TV back then. I don't watch it now. And Olga goes, please don't be mad. I got tickets to this thing called MFIN. I'm like, okay, is that another conference? Yes, it's a multifamily conference. Let's try to go and see and connect with other people. I'm like, okay, sure. Where is it? She goes, Houston. I'm like, babe, the only Houston I know is in Texas. Please tell me there's Houston in New Jersey. She goes, we going to Texas. I'm like, what? I mean, how? What are you talking about? How much was the ticket? $150 each. I'm sitting there. I'm pouring myself a shot at this point because I don't know anything about multifamily. I just started doing this flip thing, doing real estate. Now we're flying to Houston, getting a hotel. I'm like, we're gonna spend like $1,000, and I don't even know what we're doing there. She's calming me down, and of course, whiskey is working too. So we're sitting in the airport, and I turn to her and I go, what are we doing? Why? Who had this? I mean, like, it's like, what are we gonna do there? So we fly there. No, we bought everything, non-refundable, have no choice. Completely out of my comfort zone, extremely uncomfortable. Flying to Houston, open the door, and I see a sea of people, like 800 people at that conference. And I'm blown away. We don't know where to sit. I'm like, I feel completely out of my comfort zone. And I see like an old couple, and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna sit with them. They might like knew or something. Sitting next to them, turns out they have like 5,000 apartments. And that's how it is with everybody at that conference. It's a day conference. We come back home, and I'm just blown away by generosity of people, how much they want to share and teach you things. And they're like, call us at any time. A person that has 5,000 apartments and I don't know, 300 million of assets under management gives me their phone number and goes, call me or text me anytime. I'm blown away. I'm like, I'm speaking with a person that has so much money and assets and just a business owner. Never happened to me before. So that really opened my eyes where that's where I want to be. So we get home, we immediately, I'm pumped at this point. And I'm going to Olga, we have to, what do we need to do? We sit down, we make a plan. Where are we lacking? And most of, I'm sure if you go into multifamily, a lot of you know, credibility and connections. That's one of the big things. We're not talking about money yet or markets, anything. What do we need to do? We need to be credible. What do we have to do? Call brokers, stuff like that. So for credibility, what do we need? Mentors or people to connect with. And of course, mentorship is our number one priority, and especially education. So we interviewed everybody. We spoke with Cliff and Samrak and you name them. And of course, as many of you know, we're in Jake and Gino. Love Jake and Gino. It's more of it's family. Everybody works together. Nobody's fighting for deals. Nobody's against each other. It's a huge community, and I love it. Could not be happier to be in Jake and Gino. And now I'm in MIH, which is a spinoff of Jake and Gino with Marco, brother of Gino. And education took a while. Of course, many of you know I'll never forget this thing. Olga goes like, so we need some sort of a model to see, how we're gonna buy things. And I'm like, okay, so it's a calculator. And she's like, well, it's a little more than that, but let's take a look at one. She opens this thing up, and I see I see a whole screen filled with formulas and numbers. And I'm like, I have to learn this? Are you kidding me? I'm not a numbers guy. I'm graphics guy. I know pictures. I come on. And she was like, no, that's not everything. Look on the bottom. It has like 10 tabs. And my jaw just dropped. I'm like, and I felt defeated because I'm like, look at this. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Exactly how Gino talks. And because you have all this education and this modeling, and I have Bill Ham calling me, and many of you speak with Ham, and he goes 100 miles an hour. That guy, and he's giving me all this rent rolls and T12s and all these numbers and lines and NOIs, and I don't know what it is, but patience, consistent learning, and constantly grinding every day and speaking with people all the time. 6 months later, speaking with everybody. And of course, I have a huge advantage, in my opinion, Olga. I always was sitting at a conference, and I'm sure many of you had this, or maybe not, but with me, it was like this. I'm like, I'm going to tap your hand if I don't know something, right? And then you can like write it down or tell me what it stands for. So they talk about like NOI. I'm tapping her hand. I don't know what it is. So they talk about like a whisper price. I'm tapping her hand. So I'm sitting there tapping her hand literally every 2 seconds. And she goes, how about we just make a board, a big board? And that's how I learned all this terminology, because there's a lot of it. And I've written down everything, like above the line, below line, all this stuff, and loss to lease, and you name it, everything that you can think of, even what T12 stands for, just written on the board. And the more I talk about it, I look at it all the time, every day, and I erase each line. So as I learn it, I erase more and more and more and more. And my board was completely filled from top to bottom, and now it's completely empty. Well, after a year, but I do know that's one of the things I found out. Like, you constantly like looking at it, and it's like almost imprinted in your brain. And I attend a lot of conferences and Zoom calls. I would say approximately 2 to 3 per day to connect with people, because now I'm on a little different path of branding and putting myself out there as an operator. And everybody raises capital as a capital raiser, of course. And my strengths are asset management, and that's what we're doing in a deal in Kansas City. It's a JV, and a few other deals that I was very lucky to be in. But I do not regret single family stuff. Why? I'll tell you why. There, I still am a realtor, an active one. I go direct to seller. So you can transition from single family space into multifamily and go direct to sell and use the same systems. I use Mojo Dialer, a 3-line dialer. So I dial 3 numbers simultaneously. As for single family, for multifamily is the same thing. You just kind of change the approach a little bit. Same thing with texting. Same thing with direct mail. I don't do postcards. I do letters. I believe those work out better. What works out best is FedEx envelopes. Everybody opens FedEx envelopes, right? So if you would receive a FedEx envelope right now in your house, I'll bet you're gonna open it. So if you want 100% open rate, FedEx envelopes, just a quick thing. But they're very expensive, so very targeted. So you can transition from single family into multifamily and move the systems over. And I have done that and still working on that. Huge thanks to people that helped me. Sean and Wyatt helped me with CRM setup and other things because they already in the game for a year before me. So I'm really grateful for the community and everybody who helped me. And of course, the relationships I made are huge. Quick thing I want to talk about is the deal that I found in Kansas City. It's a 40 unit. It's right outside, I think it's north side of Kansas City. I went direct to seller and called the guy. Well, I messaged him. He didn't reply. I called him and I got 917 number, which is Brooklyn, because I used to live in New York for 25 years. Now I live in New Jersey. So, and he goes, you're a spammer. And he blocked me. He blocked the number. He literally hung up and he said, and I tried to call him back, said, your number is blocked. I get a Google Voice number. I call him back and I'm screaming, wait. Do not hang up. Please do not block me. I'm not a scammer. We're buying in Kansas City. I know my numbers from New York because I used to live in New York. I lived in Brooklyn for 25 years. He's still a little skeptical, but he's listening to me now. And I'm like, listen, pick a place. My partner will meet you there and you'll discuss if you want to sell your house. Don't tell me anything. Just meet with him. And the guy's, he goes like, how about tomorrow in a coffee shop there? I'm calling Joe Sullivan. And I'm calling because he's in the Kansas City market. And I go, Joe, I got this guy. He's thinking of selling. Please meet with him. Meanwhile, Olga was underwriting this deal. And she's like, it works. It works great. And also it comes with land, which was huge. I think it's like 7 acres of land, which is a huge bonus. Already zoned for multifamily, but it's vacant. So Joe meets him, calls me back later in the day, and he goes, we're buying it. I'm like, what do you mean? You already signed the contract? He's like, no, the guy's like super old school. He literally shook my hand. And he said, I would not sell it to anybody except for somebody local. I want a local person to own it because I had it for, I don't know, number of years, and he's ready to retire. He wants to have it, and like instead of going to somebody in a different state, they might not care or run it as a business. They wanted to have like more of a, I don't know, a family or something like that, or I don't know, whatever he wants it. But he wants the owner to be a local person. So we bought that deal, and we closed in December of last year, December 2nd. It was great. I think it's going great. I'm learning a whole ton, doing heavy asset management. Now we're doing lifts, doing slight rehab on the laundry room and things like that, and painting to spruce up the place. But very, very excited to work on it, and more importantly, to learn. My goal right now is learning, and of course, making connections. So right now, like you mentioned, I was learning from Schreier. Many of you know him. He's a CEO of Massive Capital, and Mike Bailey, and now K. Trevor Thompson is in Massive. Amazing operators, and they know a ton. So if somebody doesn't know them, please connect with them. They're very generous with their time, always willing to teach, and most important, if you're willing to give your time and really be passionate and driven, they will put you in the deals with them, because they see that instead of saying, what can I do for you, just show them what you can do for them, and they'll appreciate it more. So that's my little story. And right now I'm working on another deal in Dallas, which I'm very happy about. So I found another operator who asked me to be to do, I guess, investor relations, but most importantly, they use a different software. They use a different portal, and I'm really curious to learn it. That's why I asked to kind of help them out with that. And of course, capital raising. Who doesn't raise capital? Everybody raises capital. So That's my thing. Please ask questions. I don't want to. I blabbed for 30 minutes, so let me know what you guys think. And sorry that I'm in the car.
Vlad, I have a question. Now,
Go.
does Olga underwrite each of your deals that you are either involved with as a GP or are potentially involved with as a GP?
Absolutely. This is our deal. Because in the very beginning, I was bringing her. I'm like, oh yeah, this deal looks great. Look at this. Oh my god, this is wonderful. I wasn't even looking at the team. I was just so excited to be in the deal, and everybody's like, be patient, pick the right one. And we sat down and we made a plan. And the plan was this: since she knows she's very good at underwriting, she's like, the goal is this: bring me a deal, do not reply, bring me a deal, I'll underwrite it. And what she's doing is she's stress testing it, and she's using quote unquote Bill Ham method, where instead of making the deal work, she's trying to kill the deal. So if she cannot kill it, we in it. She's just using ridiculous numbers, like completely just trying to poke holes in the deal everywhere. So she's just destroying it. You know Bill Ham. He's known for killing deals. That I mean, it's his, it's his nickname almost. But she kind of learned that from him, and she's using the same method. So if she cannot kill a deal, we in it. Last year, actually half a year, I brought her 15 deals that somebody asked to be in or at least to raise capital for, and we picked one. So incredibly picky, and now even pickier when it comes to a team, because if the deal's great and the team doesn't know anything or unfamiliar with the market, let's say they're buying in Houston and now they go into, I don't know, Arizona, and before they were buying 20 doors and now they're buying 300, that's a huge red flag right there. So experience of the team matters. You know what? Many people ask for how many full cycles they went through. I mean, it's important, but at the same time, I know great operators that just did 2 full cycles, for example, or none, but own 8 deals or 10. So they go in for longer holds, which is okay, as long as the team is experienced and knows the area and done similar size deals. Like, for example, after speaking with Schreier again, his strategy is working with somebody for 6 to 8 months before he goes into a deal with them. So I'm kind of working on that as well. Our last deal was with Robert Musso, Tim Vitale, Tim Vest, Dennis Paulson, Steve is in it as well. I'm forgetting people. I'm sorry. Arvid was in it. That's the deal in Columbia, South Carolina. I know those guys for like a year. Amazing operators. I talk with them all the time. I mean, Steve and Robert, they're practically my neighbors. I mean, he lives in Long Island. Robert lives in New Jersey, 20 minutes away from me. So I know them. I know the track record. And even if they're great track record, Vitale is a great underwriter. Olga goes, you know what I have to do, right? And she took his and she goes like this: I don't need his underwriting. I don't care for his underwriting. We use synthesis. She grabbed T12. She grabbed rent roll, underwritten the deal, compared both. And actually, I don't want to say anything, but she said he got one of the best underwriting, that she ever seen is from Tim Vitale. Team Vest, Team Vitale team. So she was really impressed, and the returns on it is great. And she's like, we have to be in this deal. We have to. So we were very lucky and blessed to be in this deal. So to answer your question from my long rant, yeah, we underwrite literally every single deal. It's just because if you trust your capital and you invest this capital, you have to be sure that it's the deal for you. Be sure 100%. Because listen, your investors, your friends will come back to you and be like, hey, you recommended us this, but look what's happening here. What do you know about this? And I'm like, that's a bad situation to be in. I'm okay with losing not okay, but I can cry long enough and, be upset if I lose my money, but I won't be able to I don't know, to lose investors' money. That's probably the worst thing that can happen. So that's me. Yeah, we underwrite absolutely everything.
Yeah, I like Olga's strategy, just FYI.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's great. It's just a double check just to make sure you're presented with the underwriting of what they're giving you in a deal. And she's going to put it through her. I like the strategy that she's trying to kill the deal. And if she cannot kill that deal in any way, shape, or form, then you move forward with it because the numbers can withstand the test of time or withstand the test of the market or economic conditions. I like that a lot.
Yeah, like for example, in the current deal in Dallas market, there was huge growth, but she looked at it and the growth has decreased obviously because we see what's happening, recession, inflation, whatever, rates are up. So the projected growth was 5 to 7%. She put 3, and we look at CoStar data and few other markers, but 5 to 7, it's pretty good growth. She put 3. I mean, that's like really underday. It's almost borderline ready to kill the deal, but it still works. Still works. And like things like that, like you look at the rates, we got on the previous deal, by the way, in McAllen, we had a loan assumption. Go for loan assumptions. Are you ready? 2.9%. Freddie, killer, and very low loan on cost, 52%. On this deal, 5.5 flat rate for 7 years, also Freddie loan assumption. So that's why the raise is a little more. It's 8 million, but still, it still works. Still works. So even if the rates go whatever, I don't know, 8-9%, doesn't matter. We're still getting 5.5 lock rate. So it still works. So whoever says, I mean, be very careful, but always be in it. Deals are everywhere. Always be in it. I see deals from September coming back that didn't close. So do not sit on the sideline. That's like I was listening to Gino the other day, and he goes to his video thing. He's like, "Be careful. Do not chase everything, but do not sit on the sidelines. Underwrite. Look at things because you never know. There's never a wrong time to buy real estate."
That's such a great point, Vlad. I mean, people, rightly so, especially in the year 2023 and even maybe into 2024, are a little bit more cautious. And rightly so because of the economic conditions, but there's always deals out there. And with the amount of groups that we're all connected to, I mean, there's deals that come across all of our desks every single day. It doesn't mean it's the right deal. It just means that there's a mountain of deals that you could go through each and every day. So to your point, I think it's very, very important that you vet the team, right? That's really what it is. It's the team. It's the total picture of the deal, not just necessarily the numbers, although the numbers are obviously of supreme importance.
Absolutely. In my opinion, now I actually changed my mind a little where I think even if the deal is not that good, but the team is like solid gold, they'll make the deal work even better. Like just to give you an example on a deal um, in Dallas, the team is so great that they were targeting approximately 18 to 20 IRR on the previous 2 exits. They were 30. That's how conservative they are. And the team is so good, vertically integrated, that they were projecting 18 to 20. They got 30 on both. And I was like amazed. I'm like, how's this possible? We looked, we checked, and yeah, it's absolutely true. So I think the team, the structure of it, and asking very difficult questions. Like for example, I always bring up Schreier because he I mean, a lot of he's a fun guy, but when it comes to business and money, he's very focused, and he like says few things that really stuck in my head. Like for example, he goes, we were like this, let's find the deal, and then we're gonna get the team, and then the money is gonna come. And he goes like this, he goes like, okay, you find the deal, so what are you gonna do next? Who's your team? Who are you gonna go to? How much money can you raise? How much EMD can you put down? Do you have any liquidity? What are you gonna do? Who are you gonna call? What if they're busy? Right? And the second question was, you find the deal. What's your cut? How much are you gonna make? I'm like, and I go like this, 6%. His answer is like this: do you think you're worth that? Just think about that. And I'm like, should I be offended? I'm like, and he's like, no, it's a valid question, because let's say you find the deal, you close the deal with a team, and then when you're gonna divide how much the splits are, you're gonna argue because I want 6%, and somebody's gonna say, well, I think you deserve 4%. So all that uncomfortable stuff should be discussed beforehand. So and go even further, where you should know what is happening with your partners. Like for example, are they going through a life-changing event? Like they're going through a divorce, for example. Do you think they will concentrate on running a business? Because it's a business. We're not investors, we're business people. We're buying $50 million business, or 30, or whatever it is. So they're going to concentrate on the divorce, on issues that are happening now or happening in a family, and not devote all their time on this business. So it's very important to know, and even I would say fairly intimate details about your partners. Like for example, how I don't want to know their checking account, but are they liquid up to what point? I know they're uncomfortable conversations, but in my opinion, people should know these, because, like for example, if let's say you find a $10 million deal, the next question is, can we close it? Can we put enough EMD down to lock up the deal? And also, let's say it's 3 people, can we raise and the raise is 6 million? Can we, 3 of us, raise $6 million? No, then we need to bring somebody else or look for smaller deals. Because why would you spend, waste time on deals that you cannot close? Find additional partners. That should be discussed beforehand. So I learned that from just speaking with people, and like I said, I keep bringing Shirai, but this is what he taught me is have these uncomfortable conversations with your future team members, because they're very important. Like, who's gonna do what? One person's not gonna do everything. Divide. Or like, I'll give you another example. Let's say you work for 20 hours a day. You workaholic, work for 20 hours nonstop, and your partner works for 3 hours. Would you want a partner like that? And after you're in a deal with them, that's too late already, because they're cruising and you busting your butt and doing everything, Or I'll give you another scenario. Think about this. What if you're full-time and they have a W-2, and they cannot leave or pick up any phone calls or anything like that from 9 to 5, and there is an emergency? They have to be relied on. So what do? You take most of the work, yeah, or another partner of yours. So would it be fair to say they're doing, the W-2 people doing less work because they are unavailable from specific time period, so they deserve less of a equity cut? So that's an uncomfortable conversation, and they might say, no, I want the same, I'm in a deal, I found it too, or like, I'm running it, I was underwriting, stuff like that. Schreier said to Olga, and I'll never forget it, she goes, what do you do in the very beginning? And she goes, well, I know underwriting and due diligence, I can do that. Schreier's answer, I can hire a VA to do underwriting for me for $5 an hour. I mean, really, come on. If you think about it, right? So that's the conversation and value. You have to think, what can you do for the team? And not just like simple underwriting, because I mean, many of us know how to underwrite, right? We all know. At least I'm not like, I can underwrite, but it takes me very long. I don't know, like 4 hours. I don't know. I'm not a numbers guy, but I know how. I know how to read the model. I know how to analyze it, but it's just not my specialty. I do asset management. Love it. Love asset management. Investor relations, marketing. That's me. Now she's doing something else. So these are the difficult questions everybody should be asking, and I think they're very important to make a solid team. You know, it's like a marriage. Everybody says it's a marriage. So
I think you're right, Vlad. It's a business marriage. And if you're not comfortable having those questions answered at the start, I can tell you it's not going to go good in the middle or at the end, right? And you make a great point. It's important to challenge each other, I think, and ask those questions before you form that team, because you really see the other person's perspective. If they're wishy-washy on their answer, that tells you something. If they're definite on their answer and they can back it up with facts, that's another thing, right? Because you're 100% right. Losing your own money is one thing, but losing investors' money, that hits you in a whole new spot. I mean, that's something you want to obviously avoid at all costs, right? So
yeah,
very important to pick the team appropriately. I 100% agree. Does anybody else have any questions for Vlad? Throw anything you'd like at him.
Hey Vlad, those deals that you're finding, I know you're cold calling them or mailing them and stuff. What kind of lists, or where are you getting the addresses or the phone numbers to start?
yeah, great question. CoStar. We use CoStar lists. CoStar has not only lists of sellers, but also property managers and brokers who sold them the deal. So it's almost a trifecta, because if you call a seller and they're like, nah, we're not selling. Okay, fine. But it's not a lost lead. You call the property manager and you say, hey, listen, I bought a deal in Kansas City just now. I know you're managing 123 Main Street. And because you're not going to say, hey, listen, do you know anybody that's selling? Because they're going to think you're going to kick them out. Don't do that. You say, hey, listen, my property manager, for example, cannot handle my deals, or they're too big or too small, whatever it is. I'm looking for somebody else. Can you recommend another property manager? And kind of start a conversation or a relationship. And since they're in the market, they're like, hey, by the way, if you need more deals, that guy is selling. That's one. That's another way. And of course, broker approach. That's actually a great thing. So I call this guy and I go, hey, Mike, I know you own this property. And he goes, no, my name is Bill. I sold him this property. So I hit the broker. I started speaking with the broker, and the broker goes, yeah, I come across few deals. I'm not very active, but I know few people. I've been active before, so I come across few deals. Guess what? We started a relationship. He sent me an off-market deal. So it didn't work out, unfortunately, because we thought the owners were fighting, and we thought to kind of sneak in and get it. But somebody else came in, they kind of fixed it all up, and they didn't sell us ultimately. But the relationship's there. So we get CoStar lists. CoStar has phone numbers already and addresses. And not only that, there is a way to filter CoStar now where you know which property has which loan is due. Right? So when is it due? So you can call those people, and knowing that the loan will be due, let's say in September or October, and you can already start a conversation and start fishing and say, hey, by the way, you can say, oh, listen, we're still buying there, without being kind of direct. Just say, hey, because you know they pain point, right? They thinking they're gonna refi at 5%, but the rates are 8, so they're gonna be underwater. So that you already be like, hey, by the way, I'm buying in the area, stuff like that. So the loan is due. They have to refi or sell, and they won't be able to. So we can sneak in. By the way, I can help out with the CoStar list. So if anybody needs some sort of data or like market report on CoStar or market data, please reach out. We'll help. Absolutely. We have access to it, and we're more than happy to pull lists on pretty much on any area in the country.
Thank you so much, Vlad, for that. That'd be awesome, because I think that would help obviously some people who maybe don't have CoStar access or who are looking for more of a blueprint to get some good leads and some good broker contacts.
Yeah.
Keep firing the questions if anybody has any questions.
I have a question. Hey, Vlad, Melvin Franklin. We spoke, I think a month or so ago. Who are the two gentlemen that you mentioned we should get to know?
Oh, Shariar. His name is Shariar Khan. He is CEO of Massive Capital.
How do you
He's
spell that?
also
If I'm saying-
Shariar. Oh boy, can somebody put it in the chat?
Okay.
Don't ask me to spell Shariar. SH.
Massive Capital.
Yeah, he is from Massive Capital. Massive.capital. There is no .com.